Pete, there is no escaping this absolute injustice top down. And it has not stopped. And it goes on with the BOP and it goes on with the placements and the diesel therapy and the 14 different moves that go on around the country. And then you got these jerk offs like these AUSAs that'll take me saying this and say, look what he's saying. He's a danger to democracy. Oh. That's your danger to democracy. That's my righteous indignation. When you're abusing United States American citizens and veterans. I'm done with your crap. And so are the American people when they find out and they get their fill of it and they stop getting the cover from ABC, NBC, and these nonsensical, mythical soups of bullshit. And we, the people, actually demand real accountability. Then we will have justice. And until then, nothing's going to happen.
And we're off running. It's a busy, busy morning this morning. But let me tell you what my objective is here with my next guest. Now, Trennis Evans. Oh, my goodness. How did we come together originally? Oh, I remember. I remember how we came together. He went to Washington, D.C. on January 6th. He was a defendant. So when he first showed up on our doorstep, I wanted to bring public awareness. And then as things progressed and evolved, and we shared a common bond in that we're blessed with the ability to read federal court docket and legal documents. We're just blessed that way. It's just a common bond we will forever share and hold. And then, I've been out to events. He's unbelievably out to a lot of events, but he absolutely refused to back down and give up. And through his example, it's really like almost the trophy on the mantle of truth. His example as a defendant, as one of the best ambassadors for truth about what happened on January 6th. And he took his, he took his defendancy, we'll call it, wore it proudly, and never backed away from educating the public. The other day, I tuned in to a Marjorie Taylor Greene live stream, and I had listened. I'd listened all the way through, and I heard Trennis, and this is what he did, and it, boom, set me back. And I hadn't heard about this, and he highlighted of the many things that were discussed that he'll tell you about. He described and actually had documentation of a curriculum that our January 6th defendants are being subjected to. Not only are they being held captive as political prisoners or prisoners of war, they're being re-educated, as we've always been warned that these leftists, as soon as they're given the opportunity to, that they would do that. Now, Larry Grathwohl, who infiltrated the Weather Underground, said, we're going to send them to re-education camps, and those that can't be re-educated, you know what he said? They were planning on how to exterminate tens of millions of us. That's how significant that moment was. So, Trennis, you just heard the story. I didn't get a chance to tell you this. That's why I said, come on my show. I need to tell you. So I want you, first of all, welcome back, sir. Welcome back.
Always good to see you. Welcome back.
Welcome back. That's great. I was so proud. I was so proud to see the fruits of your labor and being able to sit before a distinguished panel led by Marjorie Taylor Greene, and you're sitting right next to Cara Castronuova. Over the past couple of years, I have never seen either one of you, and I don't know the other individuals, but I've never seen either one of you ever back away from what is obviously your patriotism and bringing the truth forward. So thank you, congratulations, and tell everybody what I was talking about, the re-education curriculum.
Pete, I laugh to keep from crying sometimes, but this is a reality. In the United States of America today, you actually have a situation going on where in the DC jail, individuals are literally being re-educated. And this lesson curriculum had to be designed in 21 to roll out when it did. Back in 22 was when I first got word of it. A defendant named James McGrew got me this information, and it was confirmed by a number of other defendants who were sitting in pretrial detention in the DC jail. Nobody had been to trial yet. And there was re-education materials about Trump's big lie, how Trump was a danger to democracy, how Trump's stole the democracy. It's just unbelievable when you read these titles. This document's publicly available. It is available on our website at Condemned USA. You can go right there and read it for yourself. And it is backed up. Listen closely, America. It is backed up by the United States Marshal's report provided within the document about taunting prisoners, taunting detainees. These aren't even, Marjorie brings up somewhere in our interview about, well, did this happen pre-trial or did it happen after their conviction? And my answer to that was, I don't give a damn when it happened. We don't abuse people in these United States, supposedly, unless they're conservatives. And then we see that under the Merrick Garland administration. But these individuals, the goal and effort was to re educate them. And I'm talking about a situation where once upon a time you took a class on another language, you could take a trade, and the idea is to make you a better individual or more fitting individual for society or improve your position once you became free of your incarceration. These are good programs in general, generally speaking. But once again, the Democrats, the left, the manipulative Marxists have abused the system and entered into a re-education effort that is not based in fact, that is based in their opinion, and they're entitled to have it in these United States, but you're not entitled to implement this into a system and institutionalize it as if it's fact and make this part of the narrative. But this is what's been done. And the Marxists in Washington, D.C. chose to do this in a D.C. jail. It's not happening in the BOP that we're aware of, Bureau of Prisons, but the D.C. jail was all too happy under the leadership of people like Wanda Patton and Quincy Booth to take on this kind of ideology. Remember, one of them stepped down, the other was fired for civil rights abuses that happened during Christopher Worrell's ordeal. And that happened. That was cited by Judge Royce C. Lamberth in December of 21.
Lamberth, can you imagine that? Yeah.
And when you have one of these leftist people, these activists under the robes, actually coming out and saying, this is too far for me, the same people that are willing to put grandma in prison for years for literally praying inside the United States Capitol, when it's too far for them, America should really be lurching back in their chair and going, what the hell's going on here?
Oh, yeah.
And these are not only United States citizens, but I remind you that there are highly decorated men who have taken part in over 500 firefights for this nation. And I mean a single individual. Bronze Star recipients in these facilities that this is being done to today. And I asked this question of America. What the hell happened to where we go one, we go all?
Whoa.
When did that stop being a thing? When did you allow United States veterans, United States citizens to be abused in these United States by Marxists who hold the power? Just because they hold the keys to the jail does not mean that we have to allow them to hold this power.
And I don't want to single out any one individual over the other because I believe that they've all been mistreated as January 6th patriots. And sadly, the American public, and so much time has passed, they're suffering through info fatigue. But ladies and gentlemen, let me, this is a smelling salt for you. All right. I'm going to single out one person to give you an example. A retired, honorable combat veteran, Master Sergeant, Special Forces, Jeremy Brown. Jeremy Brown.
American hero.
American hero. And
he's the stuff that little boys grow up wanting to be.
That's
this
not
is
what
the thing that we
does.
stand and look at that flag for. And look, Jeremy Brown is part of the United States military. And I don't care if you peeled the potatoes or aired up the tires. I respect your service, and I am thankful to the people that make that sacrifice and are willing to write that check. But to be fair, we have heroic levels everywhere. And people like Jeremy Brown, people like Benjamin Burlew, people like, gosh, I'm sorry. I get so flustered by
and that's why I didn't want to single anyone out, but I wanted to highlight.
There's been so many.
Smelling salt.
I mean, the list goes on, Pete. The list goes on of American heroes, the people little boys grow up wanting to be, and little girls will grow up wanting to be. The epitome of what epitomizes the United States military's heroism are now being tortured in your United States, and it's well documented, and it's backed up by the United States Marshal's report.
Yes. Wow. Now, the taunting in the U.S. Marshal's report, clarify this for me. I mean, there's just so much information. You say that it was backed up in the report. I just froze up there for a second. Backed up in their report, meaning that they investigated it and confirmed what
they witnessed it. They claim the United States Marshals said they witnessed the taunting and abuse of prisoners in the DC jail.
Okay.
And this, by the way, America, this isn't limited to January 6th individuals. They do this to everyone. 17 people have died in that facility, I believe, in the last year or 2 years. 17 deaths. These aren't, I got old and died deaths. These are other deaths. These are strangulations, murders, all kinds of abuses that are taking place in that jail. But it all seems just fine with that group. But remember, it's the same place where you have trouble getting a Bible, but the Quran is readily available.
Is that true?
It's true. We talked about it. We testified to it in the hearing just this past Monday.
Wow.
And the information, the attorneys have backed this up. This is the problem. If I walk in and I bring my own Quran, I'm able to have it. If I walk in and bring my own Bible, the answer is no. It's considered a religious talisman. It's unbelievable, this injustice. And I don't want people to take my word for it. I beg of you to go look at the hearing. Yes. Listen to a United States congressman reading out loud the United States Marshals report that was referred to the DOJ Civil Rights Division. It's named. We give the marshal's name. This is his report. We didn't have an influence on it. A United States Marshal read or provided a report. A United States congressman read the report to the American public in a hearing on Monday. And what's being done?
Nothing, and that is the segue to the next thing. And by the way, I said I wanted to spend some time with you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're going to do. At the conclusion of our conversation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play your full testimony in that one section, and you're going to listen to what's being said. So we can't play that for time constraint reasons, but I'm going to provide that link down below. And then secondly, open it up and listen to the entire session. And just take it in. You have a duty as an American to listen to what's going on. That's why the information was being put forth. But here's my question to you. All Americans know. You hear it time and time again. Everybody says, nothing's going to get done. Nothing's going to get done. Deb had to put me in check because I was hearing and I was emotional about what you guys were presenting. And God bless, all the people that were part of the panel. They're in Congress. They're powerless. Nothing ever gets done. But Deb said, wait, the American public needs to know what's going on in order for anything to ever get done. But that's the most important element. At least they're putting this information on blast. But, sir, are you frustrated that nothing is getting done? How long have these people been kept captive? This is crazy.
Hey, this has been going on for over 3.5 years.
Yes.
I released this report. I printed a very expensive printing, thousands of dollars to print spiral bound, coil bound booklets, hundreds of pages to deliver this report to Congress in 2022. I know it got there because I personally walked the halls of those buildings in the Cannon and Rayburn buildings and delivered to every single office of the 530 plus United States representatives the facts and evidence of this information, and was blown off at probably at least 500 offices. I mean, blown off. Thankfully, a few congressmen listened and invited me in and actually spoke with me, or they had a legal liaison speak to me. And I'm not sure that they understood it or believed it or wanted to address it. Whatever the case may have been back then, I'm going to go from here forward with them. I'll just give everybody the benefit of the doubt that maybe the information didn't make it past, they didn't get past the turning of the pages a couple of pages in, that these facts and evidence exist. And I want the American people to know that there is at no time that any level of abuse, of civil rights violation should be happening to American citizens. I don't care if you robbed a bank or if you protested on January 6th or if you walked around in the building praying. It does not change your civil rights to be treated humanely. No. They're not supposed to turn off your water for punitive reasons for days at a time. They literally turn off the water. They can't flush their toilets. They can't get a drink of water. They go on lockdown and they turn off their water. This was also cited in the United States Marshals report that there was standing human feces in the cells. Listen closely. Standing human feces. This means that the toilets had backed up. So they shut off the water, left it that way for days. You literally have United States veterans stomping around in their own shit in a D.C. jail, and the United States Congress has not done anything about it. Let me give them a quick tip on how to handle
Crazy.
this. What you do is you call the warden and you call the jailer to testify. You bring them in to testify. While they're there testifying, you then send a group of other congressmen down to knock on the door and say, we want a right now inspection. During the right now inspection, right? If they refuse to let them in, you jail these idiots
Yeah.
in the United States Congress and in the United States Capitol, as is their right, until they conform. Then you have your emergency inspections, and you do this on a regular basis until you get a handle on the problem and people are held accountable and this kind of abuse stops happening. But it's not just here. This is systematic. It happened to do with how the FBI conducted its investigations, had to do with how they used illegal surveillance, has to do with how Merrick Garland has pushed this. We saw the 1512 and all the other ridiculous charges that have been levied against so many of these people that did not fit the narrative. Or they fit the narrative, but they didn't fit the reality. 19 judges in the District of Columbia were wrong about their decisions, and only one got it right. It's a whole nother reason that the change of venue work that we provided back in 22 and filed again in 23, that expanded version in AJ Fisher's case, it's all fact and correct, Pete. There is no escaping this absolute injustice, top down, and it has not stopped, and it goes on with the BOP, and it goes on with the placements and the diesel therapy and the 14 different moves that go on around the country. And then you got these jerk-offs like these AUSAs that'll take me saying this and say, look what he's saying, he's a danger to democracy. That's your danger to democracy. That's my righteous indignation. When you're abusing United States American citizens and veterans. I'm done with your crap. And so are the American people when they find out and they get their fill of it and they stop getting the cover from ABC, NBC, and these nonsensical, mythical soups of bullshit. And we, the people, actually demand real accountability. Then we will have justice. And until then, nothing's going to happen.
No. And accountability will come. We're people of law and order. Don't think that, we vote in President Trump and
that's not how it's going to go.
Okay. And I'm being told, okay, I sure will. Thank you very much. I will be punching it. We have just a couple minutes here. I want to let everybody know accountability will come. The change of power doesn't mean that we're going to abuse it. There will be accountability to the extent of law. I have just a couple minutes here. But you made a couple comments here, and we're going to provide a link to hear your full testimony about re-education of our American citizens. Tell us about a comment that was made there when you were on the floor of this committee hearing.
Yeah, to clarify this, I'm suggesting that we, the people, have rights and we exercise them. You have the right to assemble. You have the right to say no. You have the right to say, I demand justice. You do it peacefully. You do it the right way. You don't have to do it with arms. You don't have to do anything illegal. You don't have to break any laws. You don't have to give them an excuse to go after you like they did the January 6 people. But why isn't there a march in Washington? I'll tell you why. Because they've silenced dissent. They scared the bejesus out of people by what they did to the January 6 people. Message read loud and clear by the American public. People are even scared to go donate or help somebody or get involved because they're afraid of being on a list. I will tell you who should be afraid of being on the list. The people that perpetrated and carried out injustices under Title 18, Section 242, that says any individual, including judges, that have been violated, knowingly violated, and subverted the civil rights and the constitutional rights of an individual have the right to be served with penalty up until life in prison and or death. And this must be done accurately. It must be done equitably, morally, and ethically sound in actual courts. But you cannot allow these people to have the cover and be tried in Washington, D.C., where the corrupt system backs them and they get away with it. Where we watch people like Steve Bannon go to jail and we see other people like Merrick Garland aren't held accountable to answer subpoenas. The reality is, we, the people, have rights. We have to exercise them, and you have to use power of the purse, one in Congress. You have to use power of our voices, and we have to become active in that.
All right, you're going to have to, pardon me, we're going to play this clip, and we're going to make sure that everybody can find you and more information here. Everybody pay attention to what's being said here. Here we go. Listen to this.
Make sure for everyone watching, you never attacked a police officer. You didn't cause any damage to the Capitol. And this is how you were
I never harmed a soul. I never touched a piece of property that didn't belong to me. I drank a shot of whiskey that belonged to me. And if drinking in the United States Capitol were a crime, Nancy Pelosi would be doing life in prison.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
Save the cats, Trennis. Listen. All right, let everybody know.
I needed that,
and
Pete.
I'm backed up. I have another interview that I have to go to because guess what? Speaking of cats, wait till you hear what's going on in Springfield. It's not about the Haitians and cats. You know who sent the Haitians there? Governor DeWine has a charity in Haiti. He's been funneling Haitians into a state that he says works harder than the people that are on drugs in Ohio. He's been bringing the Haitians in to Springfield. Guess what else? That's not the biggest thing. Money laundering through mortgage fraud. They're setting up these investments and extracting hundreds of thousands of dollars on home equity loans on properties that are worth $55,000 in Springfield. Why do you think they want to keep everybody away and come up with the cat scenario? Because they're a bunch of criminals.
Let me get that. Let me help
quickly.
The DOJ
We got
with
2 minutes and we're going to be cut off.
Yep. All right, here's the investigation that should be taking place on that. Who started buying stocks in mortgage lenders before all this started, and now Kamala's $25,000 mortgage deal? Mm-hmm. Who set that up? And they're going to buy heavy now. Let me make this prediction because we've seen this before.
Of course,
like Fannie Mae and the others, right?
Of
buy
course.
heavy now. This is the same old Obama scam redressed in a new way. They'll buy heavy now. They'll sell quick, then everything will plummet, and these guys are going to make billions. That's how that's going to go.
Final minute. Let everybody know what Condemned USA is. You're on X. Is that the best way to follow the flow of information? Because you put out a lot. Where should people go? Let everybody know.
Yeah. Follow us at condemnedusa.com. Follow us on X at condemnedusa.com or on Getter and the others. But we really put most of the focus into X. I think that's and other platforms deserve it. It's just too much work.
Trennis, this is what I'm going to do. As a matter of fact, I just had an epiphany. LFA TV, the network that we're associated with. LFA TV US. Roger Stone's there, myself, whole bunch of people. I'm going to invite you to a Spaces that we're going to be doing. We got our organization set up, news organization. I want to invite you on so we can have a roundtable discussion and spend a little bit more time with you. Thank you, sir.
You're watching The Pete Santilli Show.
Please stand by.
In 1776, the founders of this nation gave us something that had never existed before: a government by the people. We've had our ups and downs, learned and grew, and bled for freedom. Over time, we, the people, became distracted by the success that our hard-fought freedoms brought us. And bad people saw an opportunity. As we traded our birthright for cheap entertainment, our rights, our voice, and our power has been whittled away. Until now. Introducing Republic, an entirely new kind of social media. Republic focuses on local, giving activists, organizations, candidates, and small businesses the power to inform, organize, and act, all in a single place, enabling you to be the local hero your community desperately needs. No more covering up the truth. No more advertising-funded news. No more data mining. This is how we rebuild, rekindle, and restore our republic.
My fellow American patriots, I'm Colonel Douglas McGregor. By now, we should all know that as a talk show host, Pete Santilli has been fighting to defend our constitutional republic for over 13 years. As a U.S. Marine whose oath never expires, he's now calling upon you to do your part, to inform your community and step up as an American hero to help save our republic from being overtaken by communism. Join today and save 33% off your membership. Join now. Visit republic.us/Santilli. That's republic.us/Santilli.